Good morning, good evening, Bitcoin community. I'm your host, Craig LeBlanc of the Bitcoin Daily Morning Show every day, 8 to 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern. For those of you that would like to, let me make sure this thing is still going live. I think so. Yeah, should be doing good. Okay, so man, had a great show this morning. Definitely re-listen to that one. There had a lot of people that were on point, a lot of signal, not much noise. I will say that we've had a lot of noise in all these spaces, but sometimes you get on the signal where it's just like fire, and this is what you want. This is the content you need to hear. This will help point you in the right direction. So I'm going to cover a couple of topics on that. First of all, I would like to call all Bitcoin content creators. If you're out there, now this is for people currently creating content. This is for people thinking about creating content. I can tell you a lot of people on our show that step up to answer questions should be creating content because it's golden. I've always presented myself as just the doorman. I'm the host. I'm not the show. The guys in the audience are the show. When someone comes and asks a question about a wallet, hard wallet exchange, how a node operates, what's going on with this ordinal mess, why are the fees so high, the brilliance that comes out of their mouth is what inspired me to start this show. And it wasn't because I knew about Bitcoin. It was because I knew the message about Bitcoin needed a platform and needed to get out there. And so I said, well, that's the least I can do is show up every day, create a stage, have people come up and ask questions and have quality answers from people on the front line of Bitcoin or veterans that have been in this for a while to explain to new people how to do the simple things, the early steps of Bitcoin. So how would you buy Bitcoin? Where would you buy Bitcoin? How do I take custody of it? What is a wallet? What is a soft wallet, hard wallet? What's a node? These simple questions to veterans are not simple. It's a new language. It's a new form of money. It's a new form of asset. And it's digital. It's on your phone. It's on your computer. You can spend it globally. How do I get it back into my bank account? How to reverse transactions? So some of you may want to know, all right, I bought Bitcoin. Now how do I sell it? I remember in the early days of me buying Bitcoin, a guy was like, now prove to me that you can sell it. Prove to me you can get that back into US dollars, back into your bank account. And I hadn't done it at the time. All I'd done is just bought. So I said, that's an actual good exercise. So from that point, I learned how to take it off my wallet, put it back on exchange, take it on exchange, convert it to USD, from Bitcoin to USD, and then send it back to my bank account as dollars showing up in my account. And how long did that take me? And how much did it cost me? I'd never run through that reversing exercise until someone kind of told me it couldn't be done. And I said, there's no way. There's no way it can't be done. Let me give it a shot. And I did. It can be done. It's actually pretty dang simple. It's about the same process in reverse order that you did to buy the Bitcoin. Just do those steps in the reverse order. And that's exactly how you convert it back to USD. If you are storing Bitcoin, long-term storage, and let's say, you know what, you're retired and now you need to reverse streams and start cashing out the Bitcoin incrementally. If you're in the retirement days, how would you do that? Absolutely can be done. I have done this multiple times now. I am still more in the acquisition stage of my career because I'm only 47 and I have still got lots of energy and fire and to generate value and bring it to the market. So that being said, if you have any content around beginner steps, advanced steps, and when I say content, if you are writing a blog, if you are writing a book, if you are posting content here on Twitter, if you are thinking about starting a YouTube video, if you are going live on Facebook, if you are going on Nostr, if you just feel like you have good content or a content idea, come on my channel and at least just practice saying what you think about the content, the direction, the vision you have. Come practice on the channel. Come up to the stage and just tell us what you're doing. Obviously, if you're producing content, you have some degree of mastery around it, so you could most likely easily answered some of the early stage questions of someone in Bitcoin. So when someone says, what kind of wallet should I use? This could be a softball answer for you, but maybe to my audience, which is typically a very new audience, this is news to them, and this is their first steps. So perhaps you have a very unique way of explaining the ordinals situation or fee situation that we haven't thought of. Today, someone came on the show and explained on the meme pools, I mispronounced that and was corrected in the show, showing my newbie status. So we pulled up mempool and started just going through step by step about what this is, what we're looking at, how the fees are. But I want to welcome and invite anyone producing content in the Bitcoin space, BTC only, please. Why don't you come onto the show and tell us what you're doing? If you just released a book, if you have a great channel that's maybe big in Europe, but you want more exposure into the American markets, a lot of my audience is from Europe and the American markets. If you're in Africa and you're producing something great, we're an English speaking channel, so you're welcome to come on and just share what you're doing with the audience. I hope that this platform will just be a big megaphone for new ideas, new products, new services, new content, and it's very easy. After that, I would encourage you just start. If you, that's what I love. One thing I love about Twitter is you can go live right now. You can post live, press start, and next thing you know, you're talking to the world live. Same thing with your long form content. If you are a good writer and would just like to write a couple of pages, post it, share it with me. I'll put it on my feed, share it with the world. As my audience grows, if it's good content, it needs to get out. We need more Bitcoin content, not less. We need more people trying to become the next content creator in the Bitcoin space. I would love for my channel to be the birthplace of the next 1,000 great content creators in the space of Bitcoin and the like. If you can find a way to monetize it, go. I don't think monetizing things is a nasty word. I think when people say the guy's making a profit, or that's too much money, or that kind of stuff, these people are speaking from a scarcity mindset, as if there's not enough money to go around for the whole planet. And if I had that money in a circular economy, I'd much rather it in a Bitcoin economy. I pay all the time for goods and services that are advertised. I pay in fiat, they advertise in fiat. If I could ever buy Bitcoin toothpaste or Bitcoin camping gear or whatever, I would much rather see my money go towards a Bitcoin ecosystem than a fiat ecosystem. So if you have a good or services that you'll take Bitcoin or provide a service for Bitcoin, or if you're a content creator that's looking for exposure, come on our channel. If you find a way to get some little affiliate marketing on your thing, great, go for it. Be an entrepreneur, be your own boss. I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. Don't let people that come from a scarcity mindset deter you from finding a home in the Bitcoin ecosystem, providing goods and services with a markup and a profit that you can support your family on. That's not bad at all. You hear a lot of that. People will say, oh, well, they're making a lot of money on this. Man, look, we all have to go make money and provide for our families. I actually trust the Bitcoin people, their integrity and their honesty a lot more to provide a fair market price. And of course, you're free to disregard any offer, product offer, service offer. You're the captain of your own ship when it comes to how you spend your money and how you direct it. Me personally, though, if someone's willing to provide the exact same service at the same level of quality, and I can spend Bitcoin instead of dollars, I'm doing it because I want more money in this ecosystem. So I'm always looking for things to do. Like I have a bookkeeper and she takes Bitcoin. And so naturally a lot of my bookkeeping is done in the whole Bitcoin economy. So yeah, let's get busy building out a platform that has content creators coming and showcasing their new ideas, their latest offer, their latest content they're creating, and let us know how we can help them out. Okay, that was my first thing. Second thing is Bitcoin high fees. So are they really high? Okay, yes, they're maybe 100 times higher than they were 6 months ago. And for those of you that don't know, if you buy Bitcoin Look at this block of information that has to be gathered and put together by the mining community of the world, okay? And they can only hold 1 to 2 megabytes of information, okay? That's their cap. So that's a small data set. And right now the going rate on mempool, affectionately called mempool, just joking, it's mempool. Right now per virtual byte, it's 137 to 4,508 sats per vbyte. Okay, and that can, let's click on it. So if you go on mempool, you can click on the purple block, which is the one that was most recently approved. So block 821,974 was approved 7 minutes ago. So it's an official block in the chain, stacked on top of 820,000 other blocks. If you click on it, it will tell you that the total fees paid out for that was 1.9 Bitcoin. That's $80,000 in fees. And that the fee span and the average fee price was about 147 sats per byte. This used to be like 10 sats, not 147. So obviously the fees have gone up a lot. Why is that? Well, when you're putting a piece of information on there that's just a simple transaction, it's got your wallet address, the other wallet address. It's got, I'm not sure of all the information that goes in this, but obviously it probably has a date stamp, the amount that went in, the amount that was paid for it, yada, yada, yada. It's a little piece of data that typically is not that much information. However, when you want to put an image or a JPEG or a piece of artwork, that's obviously a lot more information. So imagine that you're trying to fly to New York, and if you can buy your ticket months in advance, you're buying it when the plane's empty. Nobody has scheduled a ticket yet for that flight. So of course they're going to let you on cheaper because you're one of the first people to reserve your seat. The plane's getting ready to take off, 10 minutes to take off. This is an analogy for why if you have what they call a high time preference, which means it's an emergency, I need to go to New York right now. Okay, at that point, you're willing to pay substantially more, sometimes $1,000 for the same seat for, say, New Orleans to New York, as the person that would have paid maybe $100 from New Orleans to New York. Same plane, same exact plane. Okay, it's just one guy really didn't care about it. He could tell you a month in advance, or he could say, just get me on the next or any flight. I want to just save money. That's what's more important. And then you got other people that say, this is a gorgeous piece of artwork. I love this JPEG. This is like whatever I want to entomb on the Bitcoin blockchain. They're willing to pay just about anything to get on there because the information is much more important to them. This is what we would call clogging up the network, because miners get paid a fee. And if somebody's willing to jack the price up and kind of have a bidding war right at the finish line, right when a block's getting ready to be approved, they're not as price sensitive. And so like the other day, I made a transaction. My fee was $176 to put something on the blockchain and shift it from a exchange to one of my personal wallets. And that's where these fees are coming from, because now people are trying to put much larger chunks of information, and you got the same people fighting over the same seats, you could say, on the plane. So it would be equivalent to, let's just say there's 5 seats left, and you're just a retired person that's just trying to get on the next flight, and then all of a sudden, 20 CEO level suits walk up, and they all are willing to pay whatever. They got to get on that plane. So now that's who you're competing with to get in the next flight out, the next block to be approved. So that's the nature of these blocks and how they're able to just, the fees are going up. It's just market demand, market circumstances. When you have a few things that people are fighting over, the bidding war starts, the price goes up. So everybody's saying fees are high. Somebody on my show today, though, said, actually think about it. Are they really high? Because if Grayscale and BlackRock and CEOs looking to hold Bitcoin as a treasury reserve asset on their balance sheet come into this space and start wanting to be on the next flight, and they're putting in millions and tens of millions and hundreds of millions and billions of dollars in these next blocks, they don't care about the price because they're not as price sensitive. So if they're not as price sensitive and it's just a fee that they would pass on to their client, it's not really even their money. So I know in business that if you just have an expense that passing from you to the client, you're not adding anything to it, say, look, man, I'm not going to add any fee. I'm not going to add any extra expense to the fee, but you've got to pay the fee. It's just a cost of doing business. Versus me and you that are trying to just get 500, 1,000, 5,000, whatever on the blockchain because you're trying to preserve your family wealth, okay, that $100 fee is actually substantial for us, and we could have bought more Bitcoin. And it used to be $1 or $2, and now it's $100. To the big BlackRock and Grayscales, they're not as concerned with these fees. So the reason you might say, you know what, fees actually probably aren't that high, because if you could look a year into the future at people that are coming to put information on these blocks, there's a great chance that they're going to outbid you, and they won't be as concerned about paying perhaps $1,000 in fees to put something on that next block. And so maybe we might look back at these quote unquote high fees as, holy cow, that was cheap just to pay $100 to get something on the Bitcoin blockchain. Now, there are some solutions that core developers are angels of our community. There's only about 600 or 700 of them globally, 600 or 700 men and women coders that are working at the front end of this Bitcoin code. That's it. That is a tiny group of genius people. So hats off to you guys for keeping us sharp and for coming up with the solutions to problems like ordinals that we're facing right now. You guys are what's keeping us alive here, and keep up what you're doing. So might not be high fees right now. You might look back in 2023 and say, wow, that was cheap. And we're probably never going back to only $100 to put something on there. And maybe the days of $1 fees are just gone forever. This is a good problem to have. Okay, guys, trust me. This is the kind of problem you want in life. You've got so much market demand for what you have found that the cost of doing business is starting to become prohibitive. All great companies have this problem. It's called scaling problems. You know, it's easy to say, you know, people love the apple pie that you made, and so now I'm going to make a business selling apple pies. And your apple pies are so good that you can't make them fast enough. You need to get a bigger oven. You need help in the kitchen. Like, people are making orders that could take you months to fill. And now you have what's called scaling issues. Okay, thank God. This is a great problem to have. And it's a problem we have right now in Bitcoin. So, you know what? I could think of some worse problems that we could be having. Like, how about this? No one uses Bitcoin. It's shit. It goes to hell. And, you know, our freedom and our love for this thing is dead. That's the kind of problem some of these altcoins are facing. Like irrelevance. Nobody's using their stuff because their chain sucks. And they've poured their life, blood, sweat, and tears, money into this, and it's falling apart. That could have been us. And probably in the early days, that was us, is that Bitcoin was just irrelevant when it was $1 a Bitcoin or $100 a Bitcoin. Only today do we have the luxury of facing the problems that a very, very relevant thing would face. Big names are starting to ask and get into Bitcoin. Nation states, publicly traded companies, CEOs of big publicly private companies, sovereign wealth funds, wealthy individuals and family accounts. We're starting to turn their head and saying, hey, that's a legitimate asset that has nearly $1 trillion market cap. Let's start diversifying our portfolio into what they're claiming to be the hardest asset as a hedge against all these other things that could fail. And so you only do that when you have a certain degree of success. Nobody takes you seriously when you're a $1 billion thing, a $1 billion asset, or a $100 million asset. But there are not many $1 trillion anythings on Earth. You can start counting how many things are worth $1 trillion. It's a very short list. Okay, so if Bitcoin is now soon to be on that list and was on that list in the last cycle, the last bull cycle, It's getting ready to blow past that list. It just recently passed Tesla as in market cap. And when it surpasses gold and Microsoft and Facebook and all these other assets that you could buy, now it's among the big boys, and it's going to have big boy problems. Okay. So I think this is just a scaling problem that we will have to mature past and outgrow. And there are others to come as well. Like what happens when we are bigger than the bond market? A $200 trillion, let me repeat that, 200 trillion with a T is the size of the bond market. Real estate portfolio, 350 trillion globally is what people have invested in real estate. So when that actually becomes, when the use case for Bitcoin starts to compete at that level with things like the bond market, cash, gold, equities, and that's what it was built for. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what Bitcoin was built for. It was built to compete at the highest level and actually be the apex asset. And it is only, it's not even 1 trillion yet. And it is getting ready to gobble up a $900 trillion bucket of assets as the just technically superior, fair, frictionless asset. And the world's risk assessment people and people that are, it is their business and career to find good ROI and a safe place to store long-term wealth, they're going to sniff this out just like you did. You just happen to stumble upon it. They're going to stumble upon it. They're going to diversify into it, and then they're going to compare, how did Bitcoin do over the last year? How did my real estate do? How did gold do? How did equities do? And guess who's going to be the shining young stud on the list of assets that they're managing, okay? We've all seen the historical performance of Bitcoin, and we see it just ticking away, 10 minutes after 10 minutes, block after block, storing value, running 24/7, distributed globally. You can buy it and sell it on many global platforms. You can do it privately, peer-to-peer. You can do it across international boundaries. You can't do this with all these other assets. You can't hop on a plane with your rent house and leave the country if the country's trying to attack your beliefs. Okay, but with Bitcoin, you can put it on a little drive, or you can just memorize 12 words and swim across the English Channel if you don't like the UK, or swim away from Cuba into Florida with 100% of your wealth stored in the memory of your mind or in a little zip drive or something. So it's got some really cool stuff with it that you just can't do with real estate and other equities and even business, and certainly not cash. So as these wealth managers start to see this, man, look, I'm not an intelligent person, and a lot of people on here are just simple working class people. If we can understand Bitcoin and take custody of it, when the real wealth managers of the world start to look at this, they are going to come in with big checkbooks of their clients. They are managing billions and trillions of dollars of global wealth, and they're not going to miss out on this. This is just going to be the next big asset class. And before you know it, I believe that this is going to pass up the bond market, the real estate market globally, as the apex asset. And soon you may be wondering, why am I holding any other asset? I can tell you for myself personally, I've got all of my assets in here. Anything I can get in here, I want to store it long term. Okay, so and I'm not the only one in the Bitcoin community that believes in the science, the math, the cryptography. We just believe what we're seeing. We believe what we have measured. So that was our feast. Last thing, and I'm gonna wrap this up because this video is going on much longer than I expected. But by the way, I don't edit any of these. This is just stream of thought. I just don't have time for that. I'm just going to produce this content, and hopefully you can sift through the noise and maybe get a little golden nugget here or there. Some of this wisdom, actually most of it, I am just hearing in the community. It's going into this brain, and I'm trying to regurgitate it so that you can understand it a little bit better, coming from someone who's not so deep in the weeds, that maybe can explain it more in layman's terms, more in business terms, more in entrepreneurial terms. and then hopefully you're able to understand it at a deeper level. Because sometimes you go into these chat rooms and Bitcoin spaces, and man, it's like they're speaking another language, coder language. I sat in on one of Chris's shows the other day, and some of the core developers were there talking, and my head was just spinning. I was writing down words. I had no clue what they were talking about, but I just felt like, a kindergartner that slipped in the back door of a PhD level class, and I was just shouldn't even be there, but I loved it. So I highly recommend any of those shows just to see what's going on at the front line here. So why should you serve the Bitcoin community? This is a big one, and I'm gonna cover this topic tomorrow in the show. If you're an entrepreneur, you should definitely come to the Bitcoin world and serve this community. Why? I have served many communities in my life. I have served the Catholic Church. I have served just volunteer. I built a men's organization. It was a father-son club where dads spent time with their young boys camping and doing manly things and all that kind of stuff, riding four-wheelers and bonfires, and it was just a blast. I did that for like a decade. Then I've coached state championship teams. I've been part of a national championship squad at University of Kentucky. I have worked with the LSU Incubator on working with their entrepreneurial college or school of business, helping young men start their businesses, helping them find angel investors, seed funding. So I've served different types of high quality communities where I met some of the best people, some of the most moral people, some of the most gifted people. And I can tell you through a lifetime, through 47 years of experience, the Bitcoin community is some of the most gifted, intelligent people you could ever serve. This is going to be the wealthy class. This is going to be the largest transfer of wealth in human history from the fiat world into the Bitcoin world. The transition is happening at breakneck speed. This is better than you thinking about starting an internet business in 1996. Had you done it back then, and had you figured out a way to get in internet business early, those were the Silicon Valley .com millionaires and billionaires that we know of today. That's where Elon Musk came from. That's where Jack Dorsey came from. That's where Bill Gates came from. Think of the companies that were built on top of that ecosystem, okay? We are right in the middle of that. Do you realize, guys, wake up for a second, wake up. Do you realize this is going to be bigger than the internet? This is going to be bigger than the mobile wave, than the mobile revolution, okay? These cell phones, okay, what did that do to the creation of maps at here I'll describe one little ecosystem. Imagine you were making maps, paper maps. You know the kind you went to a gas station, bought a map when you went to a new city to figure out how to drive around it, okay? Where are those businesses today? Ask yourself that. When's the last time you've seen a map for sale anywhere? They actually still have them. You can go find them in truck stops and stuff. But why do you need a map if you got it's for free on your phone? You just download it. It's interactive, it's live, it'll talk to you, it'll boss you around in a female accent from London, okay? That's the technology we have today. Okay, do you realize the solution that Bitcoin is and what industries are collapsing into it? Entire financial sectors are collapsing into this, okay? The asset classes are collapsing into this. Governments, banking, anything to do with currency, means of exchange, store of value, all collapsing into this, just like Blockbuster collapsed into Netflix. Just like the map producers of the world collapsed into a little app that's on your phone now. Just like calculators collapsed into the free calculator that comes with every phone. Just like Kodak collapsed into your phone. Just like film development collapsed into your phone. Just like writing letters collapsed into the text message app of your phone, okay? It's the digitization of the material world. And now this is hitting the largest bucket of money on earth, which is the asset class, okay? That is what Bitcoin's going after. Don't worry about what's competing with Bitcoin. Look at what Bitcoin's about to consume. Serve this community. Create content for this community. Find a way to build a business in this community. Find a way to revolve your life and how you make money, how you provide, how you learn around this topic. This is the ground zero for the next big revolution. It's going to happen just like the internet revolution, just like the mobile wave, just like electricity, just like the advent of the inner combustion engine and how Henry Ford basically killed all the horse transportation because cars were just superior. This is just the next step of that. It is happening live, real time. Just get on these shows, get on these X Spaces, listen to what you are hearing, and then take a step back and zoom out. And I'm telling you, what you should be seeing is Blockbuster versus Netflix, okay? Kodak versus the app on the phone. You should see the horse versus the car. Okay, that's what you should be seeing here, except this isn't a $2 trillion market cap industry. This is a $900 trillion asset class. So don't be asleep at the wheel here. You're gonna wish you found some way to get into this ecosystem. In hindsight, I'm telling you, this is where the money's going. This is where the opportunity is. And by the way, this is where some of the smartest, finest, most the people with integrity that I've ever met have. Why? Because Bitcoin forces you to play by the law, play by rules. It's a rules-based system. You can't steal, you can't inflate. It levels the playing field, value for value. You know, you're not allowed to like hack the system and print more Bitcoin like they do with the dollar, where you can just print at will and devalue all of our currency and possessions. Anyway, so 3 things. Number 1, content creators, get on the show, come tell us what you're doing. Let's blow your channel up, give you a place to write. Get on Twitter and start writing long posts. Come on, guys, create. We need our creators to create. And by the way, with AI coming, the creators are going to be the last people standing anyway. So start producing your art. I'll tell y'all one story. I'll finish with this. For those of you who don't know, I used to play instruments, and my son's a concert cellist here in New Orleans. He was trained for many years, and his room was next to my room, so I could hear him playing cello late at night and early in the morning. He played 4 hours a day. And he would always want me to come pick up the violin and play with him, but I told him, I said, son, my art is entrepreneurship. That's how I paint. My Michelangelo is going to be a network, a business, bringing value to the market. I feel like I'm painting, I'm doing my artwork. And so just like when you think of artists, don't just think of the musicians and people painting and sculpting and writing. If you are an entrepreneur, if you are a teacher, a coach of any type, go paint, man. Go build your masterpiece and come on our show and present it to the world, especially in this Bitcoin space. Fees, don't worry about the fees. Just get your stuff in there. Buy the block space now while it's cheap, because you know what? It's going up. Okay, it might go down temporarily, but it's going up over the long term. And hopefully these developers can come up with a solution to this, but they may not. And you just might have to pay a lot to get your transaction on the base layer blockchain. And lastly, get in here and serve this community. This is the next revolution. This is bigger than the internet. This is bigger than electricity. This is bigger than fire. This is bigger than just about every other human development. It's the biggest, largest invention in human history, and you want to get on this early. You don't want to come late to this game, because you will have outsized rewards for those that are willing to see something early and take a risk. I've gone way too long here. Tomorrow is my 50th straight episode. I haven't missed one. So hope you guys show up, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. I'll tell you all about the Bush Bash. Before I leave, let me tell you all the 10 cities that we're going to host. Okay, we're making a USA tour. I'm going to host a 4-day event. Nothing special. This is literally come camping with Bitcoin people and meet your tribe, and we'll build a big bonfire and stuff. We've got Louisiana, Mississippi going to host one. All of these are going to have Cajun cooking, so I hope you like gumbos and etouffees and that kind of stuff. I've got a couple of cooks that are coming, and I, of course, know how to cook myself, so this is all included. I'm going to make it like $100 for the whole weekend, including the food and stuff. So it's going to be super, super affordable for anybody that wants to come spend the weekend with us. Louisiana, we got one in Nashville, Tennessee, Austin, Texas, Dallas, Texas, Houston, Texas, Washington, D.C., Atlanta, Georgia, Denver, Colorado, Little Rock, Arkansas, and Charlotte, North Carolina. I will be sending out the dates as they come out and locations, and you can start registering for it. This is going to be our 2024 calendar. And just come hang out with us, meet fellow Bitcoiners, make connections, and some of these are lifetime connections. Love to see y'all there. I'll be at all of them, meet y'all in person, and really love the support that I'm getting for this channel. It's unbelievable. Thank y'all so much for what y'all have given me. Y'all have really impacted my life, and I appreciate it. I cannot thank y'all enough. In honor of Eric out there, if you're listening to this, I am super grateful. He always closes with that, and I love gratitude, man. Attitude of gratitude. Make sure you make that part of your life. That makes the biggest difference in the world. Just be grateful for what you have. Love you guys. Thank y'all so much. Have a great day.